Hi guys, I'm Patrick, and I know what you're thinking. Girl, you look shady today. And you're right. Welcome back to Plant Something Sunday, where this Sunday I am planting a Zelkova tree. Now it is a little bit later in the day than I usually plant, but this area also gets a little shade sooner in the day, so it's like lose-lose a little bit. But I wanted to get this plant in the ground. We are having a very strange autumn season here in Vermont. It is still in its 70s, and we have still yet to have our first hard frost. And it's almost November. It is strange. But with that being said, it offers a gift of extended planting season. I actually still plant things even through the first couple frosts. So I figure, why not plant a tree that I am still going to potentially get some enjoyment out of this season? So the Zelkova tree stood out to me, and I will be completely honest, simply because its name was different, right? It's not a maple, it's not a birch, it's not an apple tree, it's not a arborvitae, it's not some sort of conifer that's just so familiar with everything in the landscape. It's a Zelkova tree, and it just stood out different by name because I wasn't familiar with it. And then the more I learned about it, the more I was excited about potentially working this in. So this is not a native tree to North America. This comes from Central and Eastern Asia, I believe. I will fact check myself later. But what makes it special is the fact that it holds on to its leaves and it colors much later in the autumn season. And this is where a lot of our trees get their color from. It makes North America a little bit unique. It makes parts of Asia really unique. Because you go to Europe and autumn looks like a lot of yellow and green. And there's not a whole lot of orange, purple, or red. And that has a lot to do with just the genetic variation about how nutrients are expressed after they are metabolized in the plant, and also because of the insular region breeding. I'm not going to attempt that word again. But, so as you can see, this tree is still full green, no fading, no tinting, and it will morph into there is a little bit of yellow, but it will morph into a red leaf tree later this fall. So it does grow to gargantuan heights in comparison to some of the other trees around here, but it grows relatively tall with like an open mouth trumpet vase type of structure. And again, when you look at structure and thinking about structure in your garden space, I was talking about, we have a lot of things that are cone-shaped, or you have a lot of things that are bushy, or you have things that are oval or cylindrical. This adds that triangle dynamic of a trumpet thing, and clearly I'm big into doing this today. So I don't know how much of this you can see, but I do have a lot more prep that I normally don't have, because this has become a little bit of a wayside area next to our winter squash garden. So let's get this tree into its new home and get to work. So I apologize if the audio is bad. I had to switch to my phone device, but I just want to do a little recap. And I felt like you couldn't really see a whole lot of it earlier, and you potentially still can't see a whole lot. This is going to be one of those things where it like emerges later on as it, one, fills in, and two, things sort of support it standing out, if that makes any sense. But I had to move some fencing things out of the way, and then I wanted to mow it down. This is an intentional, it will be a zinnia flower bed mostly next year, and it's going to carve this way a little bit, but I am trying to think ahead to what do I visually want to look down my property and see. And what do I want to see? I want to see an extended autumn display of beautiful colors. I want my yard to look like we're dumping out a Crayola box for several weeks out of the year, and this Zelkova tree is going to help create that visualization. So I got it into the ground, and because there's a lot of established things in the area, trees, and just, we have this, as you know from my first garden bed video, there's this we have a couple viney weeds. One is invasive and a big pain in my egg, and then the other ones are also pains, but not quite the egg. And I deal with that here, and so this is my first time in a while just bringing things down to the ground. And then because I like to do things a little passively, this is one of those reasons why I like to support putting down cardboard, right? It'll help suffocate the light for that area. So it had just rained last night, and it's going to potentially rain again this night. So I wasn't really worried about watering. I did put my biotone in because, again, anything that potentially helps to establish roots before winter, I'm all for. The worst case is it's not going to do anything. I'm okay with that gamble. So with that being said, I just placed it, and then I have this like little limpy branch coming in right here, and as you know, I like that kind of texture. I like that sad little adorableness that things can bring with when they droop a little bit. Poor posture of this leaf. And in time, this might be something I trim off anyway, but I rotated it because I want to be able to look at this little droopy branch. So we'll see how that fills in. Maybe hopefully it carries with the tree as it goes up, but I have a feeling it's going to stay here and eventually touch the ground. But yeah, so I put down my cardboard to suffocate the weeds that do come up. The advantage of everything winding down is I'm not going to have to really worry about a resurgence of things leafing out from weeds in the near future. So it's going to, one, cut back on any photo intake it was going to use for the winter for some of these weeds, but it's also going to hinder it coming back in the spring when the daylight starts to become a little bit longer. So I also did a little bit of a more wide area than I normally do, and again, that's just to get ahead of a weed resurgence than react to it. Next year, I'm going to be clearing off the hillside here behind it, and I'm going to, I think, put in a row of arbs here. They sort of line our upper property, and the more and more that it fills in elsewhere, the holes of where they aren't seem to stand out a little bit more. And in some ways, I also want the lower lot to seem like a little hidden place, like it's a little room that you have to know to go to. I should wrap this up because I don't know how much pain I am putting you through with poor audio quality and a windy day. Next week we're going to work with one of those dormant trees that I had mentioned previously. I'm excited for that. So are you, I can tell. And I thank you for watching this video. If you could subscribe so you are notified for the dormant video that I am hyping up, and it might be a great disappointment, But I'm still gonna film it. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna learn stuff, and we're gonna listen to a little music and veg out a little bit as we distract ourselves from the chaos that life is about to bring us next week. So as always, remember to grow from where you are, and I'll share more with you soon. Cheers.